Hey everybody, I'm here today with a beginner driving lesson on right and left turns. I'm here in my Mazda 3 and I'm just going to be going over some simple things for turning right and turning left. I'll be going over how to turn right and left, what to do with the steering wheel, what to do with your hands, and some tips and tricks for doing it safely and smoothly. Now let's get right to it. I'm actually just going to be driving around some side streets and sort of talking and demonstrating as I'm actually doing it and showing you how to do it. Now let's get right to it. I'm going to put the car in drive. Let's pull the parking brake down and we'll start right now. So as you can see, before I exit this parking space, I'm going to put my turn signal on. Now whenever you're turning right and left, it's important to put your turn signal on. I'm also going to be checking my mirrors, checking my blind spots because I'm in a parking lot right now, so I'm checking both blind spots and all my mirrors. I can see that it's safe to proceed forward, so I'm just going to gently press on the gas pedal and I'm going to turn the steering wheel. Now this is hand over hand steering, the method that I'm using now, and that is the method that I commonly use for steering, but there are other methods that I'll show you as well. Once again, I'm going to take this turn like this in the parking lot, and as you can see, when I've completed the turn, I release the steering wheel. Now that's the method that I use when I'm driving with two hands. I make the turn and I release the steering wheel. Okay, once again, I'm going to be turning right from over here, right at this little parking lot to side street junction. So I'm going to put my right turn signal on, check my mirrors, and I'm also going to be checking my blind spot over here. Then I'm going to check for traffic. Make sure that there's no traffic and I can proceed. Just like this. Now it's actually pretty snowy on the roads, so I don't know if you can tell in the video. I don't know how it's looking in the frame and the lighting, but it's pretty snowy on the roads, so I'll be driving, according to the weather conditions. Meaning I'm going to drive slightly below the speed limit, and I'm starting to brake earlier. Now when you're turning right and left in the snow, on the ice, or in the rain, you have to make your turns smoother. Because if you accelerate too much during the turn, your wheels are going to spin, your tail end might sort of swing out a little bit, and so forth. So you have to do everything smoother and slower when you're driving in weather conditions that are not ideal like this, like the snow, the ice, the rain, anything that is just not an ideal weather condition. So I'm going to turn left over here. Let's put my left turn signal on, approaching the stop sign, and when I'm turning left at an intersection right here, this is actually like a three-way intersection, I'm checking my rear view mirror, my left side mirror, my left blind spot, and then checking for traffic, and I'm good to go. It's okay. I used hand over hand steering right there. Now as you can see, when I actually approach the turn, what I'm doing is I'm trying to start with two hands. Ideally, you want to approach the turn with two hands on the wheel and then use a steering method. Now, there are a few different two-handed steering methods, but the one that I'm using, like I said, is hand over hand, and I'll show you once again. Signal, mirrors, blind spot, traffic, good to go. Just like this. One hand is going over the other hand, and then I'm releasing throughout the turn. Now, while you're turning right and left, you should be at the point with enough practice where you can turn the wheel and hold it in position, make the turn, and then release the wheel. So I'm going to actually do a rolling right turn over here. So let's put our signal on, mirrors, blind spot. Let's go ahead. And I'm hand over hand steering. I'm holding the wheel, and then I release the wheel. So that happens with practice. It's not going to happen today, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but with enough practice, you'll be able to steer through a turn like that. Now I'm actually approaching sort of like a little court over here, which is just a circular part of the street, and I have to go around the court. So once again, you'll see the holding the steering wheel in position method. So I'm approaching the turn of the court. I am now going to take the turn, and when I get my steering angle, I'm holding it there just like that, holding it there just like that, and then when I've completed the turn, I release. And then I grab the steering wheel. Now, I released my hands from the wheel completely so that you could sort of see the wheel turning back. But ideally, you want to keep your hands close to the steering wheel. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is the push-pull method of steering. Now, it's when you are about to turn and you push and pull continually. So I'll show you right here at this stop sign. Now this is not an always stop, so I'm gonna just double check that there's no traffic oncoming before I actually make the turn. So let's put our left turn signal on, come to a complete stop, check my mirrors, check my blind spot. There's a car right there, so I'm gonna wait. Now I'm checking for traffic, good to go. Mirrors, blind spot, good. Push pull, just like this. As you can see, I was using one hand to push, one hand to pull. And I've done these examples of these different steering methods in many different videos. I mean, I've done them many times in different videos, but I'll show you the push-pull here on a rolling stop. So once again, there's no stop sign. Let's go ahead and push-pull throughout the turn, just like that, and then release. Now, the good thing about the push-pull method is that you're not crossing your hands over each other. Your hands are always sort of equidistant. For the most part, they're closer to being equally spaced apart on the steering wheel. I'll make a left turn here. I'll show you my one-handed steering method. Mirrors, blind spot, my signal's on, traffic is good. Here's my one-handed steering method. It involves grabbing the wheel at the top and then palming the wheel and using pressure to turn the wheel. And it's good because you can turn the wheel much faster for something like a 3-point turn or even a U-turn, which I'll demonstrate momentarily. So I'll make a right turn over here, and then somewhere down the street I'll actually demonstrate a U-turn. Now, I have to start this turn on an angle because of the way that the intersection is. Good to go, checked everything. One-handed steering method is in effect. Now, I'm going to drive towards the end of the street because there's much less traffic. There's not nearly as much traffic because it's sort of a street that ends off over there. Sorry. And then what I'm going to do is I'll do a 3-point turn, and I'll show you one of the benefits of the one-handed steering method. Now, you can see sometimes I'll hold the wheel at the 12 o'clock position. Sometimes I'll hold it at like the 12:30, 1 o'clock position. So what I'm going to do now is I will pull over to the side, and then I'll demonstrate a 3-point turn with the one-handed steering method, okay? Now, as you can see, I checked my mirrors and my blind spot before I pulled over. That's just an added tip. Okay, 3-point turn, left turn signal, mirrors, blind spot, one-handed steering method allows you to turn the wheel very quickly, okay? Signal, reverse, mirrors, blind spot, checking everywhere. One-handed steering method, as you can see, allows you to completely get control and speed over the wheel. Signal, drive gear, mirrors, blind spots, good to go. Now, as you can see right there, the one-handed steering method allows you to get super fast steering control right and left. Now, I wouldn't recommend it making right turns and left turns often, only when it's needed. Like I said in previous videos, if you're shifting gears in a manual car, if you're adjusting your climate control and so forth, I would recommend two-handed more often than one-handed, but sometimes you have to do it. Like, let's say I was downshifting right here, I would have to steer through the turn with one hand. Now, the other thing that I want to go over before I finish this video is with regards to speed, okay? So with regards to speed, a lot of people, when they're learning how to drive, tend to slow down before they make the turn and then speed up during the turn. That is not the right way to maintain your speed throughout the turn. Now, these are snowy conditions, so I'm going to be slowing down significantly before I take a rolling turn because I don't want to slide. But if the roads were dry, the goal is to slow down before, and I'm talking about rolling turns, not turns from a stop. With a rolling turn, the goal is to slow down before you actually get to the turn. So you want to slow down as much as you need to before you get to the turn. You want to maintain your speed throughout the turn, and then you want to accelerate after the turn is finished. So I'll roll a turn right here, and I'm going to slow down significantly because of the snow, but I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Put our right signal on. We are approaching we're going to get into the right lane, which is like the turning lane over here. Mirrors, blind spot. Now I'm slowing down. As you can see, I've slowed down. I'm taking the turn at a consistent speed, and then I'm accelerating out of the turn. That's the speed control that you want to have while you're taking a rolling turn. Okay, now when you have a turn that you're starting from a stop at, like I'll show you right now, signal, mirrors, blind spot, I'm gonna let this car go first. And then when you're accelerating to start a turn, like right now, especially with the snow, you obviously have to accelerate throughout the turn. But you wanna accelerate and reach your speed sort of at the beginning of the turn and then maintain that speed throughout the turn. So when you're starting a turn from a stop, you want to basically accelerate and reach your ideal turning speed, you know, before you've actually completed the turn, at the beginning of the turn, and then you want to maintain that speed throughout the turn. So I'll do one more turn right now. I am on a minor road, a side street. I'm going to be turning onto a major road or a main road. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to a complete stop. We're going to check for traffic. We're going to check for pedestrians, check our mirrors, check my blind spot, and we're good to go. I'm going to take this turn, and as you can see, I have actually, and it was a little bit slippery there, that's why I had to adjust my speed, but I accelerated and reached the speed right at the beginning of the turn, and then it's just maintaining that speed throughout the rest of the turn. And that's basically it. I'm just gonna get into the left lane very shortly so I can actually make my turn over here. But that's basically it. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video on making right and left turns. It was a beginner driving lesson, but these tips are useful for beginners and for people that have been driving for 40 or 50 years. The tips that I provide you with are very useful regardless of your skill level, but obviously they are more useful for beginners because they're gonna be most likely new to be learned by beginners. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. What are your tips for making right and left turns safely and smoothly? And also, did you find the tips that I have provided you with in the tutorial useful? Let me know as a comment down below. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.